There's so many different patterns you can use for tarpon, and every year we come to Cuba, we have this one go-to pattern, and that's this one I'm going to tie you today, the Green Tarpon Toad. You can tie it in multiple different colors, you know, essentially from fluorescent green, kind of a light olive, or even a real bright yellow, all the way to the dark green I'm tying today. So make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a size 1 saltwater. We'll tie with some 8 olive thread. We use an extra small yellow dumbbell eye for the eyes, some Kelly green marabou with pearl blue angel hair for the highlights as the tail, and some green EP Puglisi fibers for the body and head. To start the fly off, I've tied my thread, and you might be wondering why I'm using really light thread. Well, the reason is when I get to the head, I want the light to shine and actually go into that thread, the sunlight, and when you use these Puglisi fibers, they're almost transparent. So I want to use a real light thread. I'm going to start off with a tail with a couple of marabous. So I've taken two feathers and I'm combining them. And I'm going to make them about the length of the hook, maybe a little bit longer, and just tie them in at the top of the hook. So make sure you tie them in at the top. Once I have my tail tied in at the top of the hook, I'm actually going to take just a few of my angel hair sparkle. I'm going to wrap it on the thread and tie it in so it spans the side. So tie it in so it just comes off the side. You don't want much of this at all. You just want just a very, very few strands, and cut it about the length of your tail. To finish off the tail, I've taken 2 more marabou feathers because we want this tail to be real bushy. Now we're going to tie these at the bottom, so keep it about the same length of the top you just tied in, and put those feathers to the bottom of the hook. Now we're going to start forming the body and the head of the fly. What we want to do is take these Puglisi fibers, and they're quite thin. We're going to pull off a strip and keep the strip fairly thin. You want this just so it rolls in your fingers nicely. And you can see it's fairly long. So this is quite a long fiber. We're going to tie it in on the top. Tie it in a figure 8. So tie it across the top, making sure you're tying in a figure 8 so that you're covering both sides of the hook, and that these fibers stick directly out on the sides. So as I'm working my way up and forming the body and the head, as I'm taking a little bit thicker amount each time, and every time I tie it in on the top of the hook and keep it out to the sides, I'm pushing it back, almost like you would deer hair. Just keep pushing it back, filling the body, and keep tying in until you've built up a nice head. And we'll continue to do this all the way until we get near our eyelet. So now that I've tied in about 6 or 7 clumps of my Puglisi fiber and to form the body and the head, I'm going to take my small little dumbbell eyes that we mentioned on the intro and put them in right at the front. I like a little bit of weight on this fly, and having these eyes on there just gives it a little bit of weight so that you can get this fly to undulate in the water. To finish the fly off, I'm going to whip finish right at the head end. And then what we're going to do is, after I whip finish, we're going to take the fly out and just trim the head and the body to length. So there it is, the finished Green Tarpon Toad. One thing to remember is you can tie it in a variety of different colors. Again, like I said in the intro, anywhere from a light olive all the way up to a yellow. Works really well. The thing too is adopt the eyes to what you want. I like to see this pattern undulate in the water. That's why I've used the dumbbell eyes. And if you are going to Cuba, make sure you have a whole lot of these in your fly box, because you'll need them. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one showing, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.